Hey YouTube, I wanted to make a video that's kind of a informational video about your move to Kansas City. If you clicked on this video, it's likely because you're thinking about moving to Kansas City or you're planning on moving to Kansas City, whether that be for work or to get closer to family. I did my own little research, and what I noticed is that a lot of the things that are out there is people's travel vlogs. So I wanted to make something that was more informational. So the goal that by the end of this video, you will be just a regular local. I do have a cold, so I sound kind of bad on the recording, but I wanted to start off by helping you get your bearings. I made a map, but it's going to be really hard to see. So what I have here is a whiteboard of the city. On this side, you have the Kansas side and the Missouri side. So hopefully you already knew that Kansas City extends into both sides of the state line. So there is a Kansas City, Missouri, and a Kansas City, Kansas. To start off with, Kansas City is about 500,000, just a little bit under 500,000 in population. But the whole Kansas City metro area, is what we call it, is about 2.1 million. So there's a lot of us here. I'm located up here in Parkville, which is north of Kansas City. But I'll go ahead and talk about some of the surrounding areas. So you have Kansas City here in the center, and then right above that is North Kansas City. And then above that is what we call either the Northlands or Kansas City North. We have to call it that so we don't confuse it with North Kansas City. It's kind of a pain, but you'll get the hang of it. So like I said, I live up here in Parkville. And then if you go a little further east, you get to Gladstone and then Liberty here. If you go down south, there's Independence right down, and then Lee Summit, Blue Springs. Over on the Kansas side, you have Kansas City, Kansas. Here's Shawnee out here. This OP is for Overland Park, and then down here is Leawood and Lenexa. There's some more cities surrounding the Kansas City area. I just named some of the bigger ones. I'll talk a little bit about some of the property values. So Kansas City is about, for the average house, is about $149,500, so $149,500 is the average price of a home in Kansas City. Once you go over to the Kansas City, Kansas side, it drops down to $109,000. So the property value goes down a little bit over in Kansas City, Kansas. Also on the Kansas side, something to take note is that their taxes are a little bit higher. So keep that in mind. Then up here in Parkville, which is where I live, it's pretty high. I think the average houses in Parkville is in the high fours. So it's not to say you can't find a good house in Parkville, but it's pretty expensive. Then we go over to Gladstone, it drops down to 166. Here in Liberty, it's about 220. So Liberty is actually a little bit more north than my map depicts, but you have to bear with me. You go down to Independence. I'm not crazy about Independence. I think the property value is 123. If you have a choice on where you're gonna live when you move down here, I would avoid Independence. Raytown is, I would avoid it too. And then Lee Summit's not too bad, and Blue Springs, the average property value down there is about 220, so that's a pretty good area too. The traffic is really not that bad here. If you're moving from a small town, it's gonna be a little more congested than what you're used to. But if you are from let's say a bigger city like Los Angeles or something like that, the traffic's great down here. So you'll get it kind of figured out once you get down here. You have I-70 that runs east and west, and you have 29 that comes down through the north, and then I-35, 635, 435 that runs north and south and east and west. So the traffic's not bad. You'll kind of see where it starts to get congested during the busy times, but that'll all come to you once you get down here. A good thing is you have Johnny Dare you can listen to in the mornings. This guy's hilarious. He has a great morning show, and on top of that, he does a lot of good around the city. So right now he has a program called Hope for the Holidays, where people will call in when they can't afford to give their family a good Christmas, and he will kind of put their story out on 98.9, and people call in and donate money and give the family a good Christmas. So he's a really cool guy. Once you get down here, you have to check out the Johnny Dare Morning Show on 98.9. There is a ton of stuff you can do. If you like football, you will be an honorary member of Chiefs Kingdom, so congratulations on that. Right now, I think we're 8-4. We won the AFC West like the last 2 years. We're on track to win it again this year. Your quarterback is the league MVP. He's going to bring some Super Bowls to the city. Maybe not this year. It's hard to tell, but it's definitely coming. So on top of being really good at football, he's a really cool guy. So he's got a program called 15 in the Mahomies, and I think just last week they donated like $250,000 to charity. So that's really cool. If you're into baseball, we have the Royals. We're in what we like to call here a rebuilding season. And we're going to be in one of those for probably a long time. So it's still fun to go out to the games on Friday nights. They have Buck Night and they shoot off fireworks. So a lot of your ballpark snacks are only $1, which is pretty good. It's still like $10 for a beer. So get there early, do your drinking in the parking lot. If you're into soccer, we have Sporting KC. I'm not too into soccer. I really don't even know a whole lot about them. I think what I've heard is they did well last year, but like I said, I don't know. If you're into hockey, we have a hockey team. They're not a professional hockey team. They're like, I think one rung below that, the Kansas City Mavericks. I'm really not too into hockey, but I've been to a couple of their games, and it's actually really fun to go. So if you're into music, we have the Sprint Center downtown. It's kind of our main arena down there, and they play pretty much every major artist will come through the Sprint Center. So just a couple of months ago, Metallica came through, and then here in April, a band called Dan and Shay is coming. So I don't know who they are, but my wife made me get tickets to that. So that'll just show you kind of the difference in music that'll come through here. Whatever you're into, they're going to be coming through Kansas City. So a lot of the notable things to do once you get down here, if you like to party, we have the Power and Light District. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool bars down there. If I had to rank them in order, I'd say there's like, I can't even really do it in order, but Johnny's Tavern, Mosaic, Howl at the Moon, PBR Big Sky. You'll have to check it out if you're into partying. There's also a party district in Westport. It's nicer than it used to be, I think. They added a lot of security down there. I still avoid it, but if you're into partying, Westport is probably worth checking out. So you can't do an informational video about Kansas City without talking about barbecue. So a lot of the tourists like to go to Jack Stack and Joe's KC, and those places are great. A couple other ones that the locals here like. Gates is really good. Arthur Bryant's, I'm not crazy about Arthur Bryant's, but there's a lot of people that really love it. So it's worth checking out. I don't like it, like I said, but you might love it, so I would check out Arthur Bryant's. The Nelson Atkins Museum is free, so I would recommend going to check that out. The Boulevard Brewery, and they do tours. There's barbecue tours, city tours, all kinds of stuff like that. And I would recommend going on some type of tour, whatever you like, and then it'll kind of show you the different spots in Kansas City that you can go see. The Westport, the Country Club Plaza down kind of by Westport on the south side of Kansas City. It's pretty cool. It's like a big shopping district, and right now around the holidays they got all the lights out, so it's fun to see. There's a city market in downtown. Up north we have like Zona Rosa, and it's kind of like a big shopping district. You'll kind of get to see what everything there is to do once you're moved down here, but I can guarantee that whatever you're into, we have it down here in Kansas City. So real quick, I want to talk about crime. You probably heard a lot of bad things. If you look up Kansas City and crime, we do play around with that top 10 most dangerous cities in the nation list. I don't know if we're on it right now. We kind of jump in and off of that list. I think there is a 127% crime rate above the national average. And what I can say about crime is that it is pretty bad, but it is mostly isolated to the bad parts of Kansas City. So we're talking like Independence Avenue, Troost, parts of Truman Road, Armour Boulevard. It gets pretty bad down there, I'm not gonna lie, but like downtown Kansas City, anywhere up north, most of the areas around Kansas City is pretty safe. So as long as you're avoiding like the really bad parts, you're probably gonna be okay. The Kansas City, Missouri Police Department does a really great job. They just got a newer chief, Rick Smith, and we have a newer mayor, Quentin Lucas, and they both want to do a lot of good things for the city. So things are looking up. The economy right now is doing really well. Average salary for a job is $47,000, almost $48,000. Our unemployment rate is 4.3 right now, and cost of living down here is much lower than any other city. And I think that's why there's a lot of people that actually choose to move to Kansas City, because of the low cost of living rate. So that's an excellent reason to move down here. Like I said, it is a little cheaper on the Missouri side than the Kansas side, so just keep that in mind when you pick where you want to live. That's gonna do it for me. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so if you are thinking about moving to Kansas City and you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'll leave all of my information in the description below, And also, I'm a real estate agent here in Kansas City, so if you're looking to move to a house down here in Kansas City, I can definitely hook you up with a good place to live. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions or if you need to find a house down here. I'd be more than happy to help you out. So I'll see you next time.